Welcome to today's edition of Mental Health Matters. Today, we're going to be talking about Pakistan and the Muslim religion. I have Ali Saeed on the show today, and he's going to share his experience about being Pakistani. Get you something to drink and get you a snack, and come on back. Good morning, Ali.
Hey, good morning, Jesse. Thanks for having me again.
Yes, welcome back to the show. I really appreciate you taking the time out to just kind of share a little bit about your culture, your background, and your religion.
Oh no, thank you. It's an honor. I hope I can do justice to my people and in the religion. I'm not a scholar, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
All right. So why don't we start by you just introducing yourself and a little bit about yourself, and then we'll just go from there.
Okay. So my name is Ali Said. My full name is actually Muhammad Ali Said. I go
Oh,
by Ali. Sometimes it's just easier when you
I
get to
didn't
say,
know
I don't know.
that.
Besides, it's Ali. Muhammad Ali. So yeah, I was born in Pakistan. The city that I was born in is the largest city in Pakistan. It's called Karachi. That's where I was born. It's like you could compare it to like a New York type, just people wise, just congested and overpopulated and people everywhere. That's basically what Karachi is, and that's where I was born. I came here when I was probably approximately 2 years old. We came to
Wow.
Texas. I grew up in Texas till like the mid 80s. Then my dad, we moved out to California for work. My dad was a construction worker.
Uh-huh.
So back then in the 80s, construction slowed down in Texas
Uh-huh.
and California was booming. So that's when we came here. And since then, I've been here ever since LA. 4 years ago, I moved out to Sacramento with my wife and family. So hopefully, this is it, Sacramento.
So, so I didn't know. Okay, I had a little bit of insight on about your background in regards to I think the LA, but I didn't know
Mhm.
you lived in Texas. So you guys moved around a lot.
Yeah, you can say that. It was Houston. So we lived in Houston. Then we came out to LA. LA lived there till, I mean, well, like 4 years ago, then came out here. You can say, but we made a little foothold everywhere we went. I mean, it wasn't too bad.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So you lived into Texas
Yes.
up until 4 years ago.
No, I was in Texas till 1986. I remember
Oh,
it was the New Year's of '86, and we were here on '87 New Year's Day. We were in Los Angeles. Then we lived from 1987 to 2018 or 17. We were in Sacramento, Los Angeles. Then we moved out here to
so
Sacramento.
are your parents here in Sacramento as well, or are they in Pakistan?
No, my parents are here. My dad passed away. He's in he's buried in Los Angeles. And
Okay.
my mom is still there. She's living in Florida. I,
Oh,
don't ask me how she got into Florida, but she's been living in Florida for the last couple of months. But she's there, and yeah, no one, we never relocated back to Pakistan. None of my immediate family. Once we came here, we're here. I mean, I can't see myself going starting a life there.
so have you ever visited Pakistan as an adult?
You're breaking up.
I
You're
said,
you're
have you ever
breaking up a
visited?
little bit.
Have you ever
Oh
visited
yeah,
as an adult?
yes. Last time I was there was probably in 2008,
Okay.
2007. I went to go visit. I think after my dad passed away, we just went to go see family, his family and my mom's family. Just a little short trip and came back.
So, what was that like for you, just visiting the country that you was born in? Because it seems to me and you can correct me on this. Do you feel like you're more Americanized opposed to people that were born there and continue to make their home in Pakistan?
Yeah. In a sense, I am. I when I go there, they can. It's gonna sound so strange, but when you go into Pakistan, Karachi, they will know off the bat how you look, the way you walk, your demeanor, that you are an American raised or born. It just shows on just the way you walk and talk. I mean,
Wow.
I speak my language fluently, but my wife even tells me sometimes I don't know the words or my accent comes out a little bit. But they can tell, and people can tell. Yeah, okay, this guy, you're usually not from there, because it's regular etiquettes. The more I'm on the American stance side, than getting familiar with how Pakistani culture is, because it's changing, and each time I go, there's a lot of change there in
So
Karachi.
do you feel that let me backtrack. So I'm really associated with the Russian Ukrainian culture. I have a lot of friends in that culture. And I was told by one of my good friends that when they go back to visit, that they people automatically know that was born and raised there and continued their home in Ukraine, that they kind of look down on them a little bit for um, not continue their home in Ukraine.
Mhm.
And he said the same thing. He said people can tell like just our mannerisms and things like that. Do you feel that is the case with you as well? Have you ever experienced that?
No, no, majority of the people they don't have it. There's no resentment. Like, hey, you left the country and you should have stayed, and mainly because they just they don't have that mentality for some reason. I haven't experienced it. But what was shocking is, at the same time, when I went to visit Pakistan, my cousin, he's in India. So my dad's brother's son, he came to visit me. I don't know how he got a visa to come to Pakistan from India.
Yeah.
But when I went there, and we went just basically street shopping, or went to meet people, people were more like, just wanted to know about him. But he just came
Really
from India, rather me, yeah. Like,
interesting.
I just came from America, and he'll say I'm from India. They'll be, what? You're from India? You just came here? And listen, and it was a start from right then. They will be in shock that, oh my God, you're from India. Tell us about India and this and that. They could care less that I was from America. So they're like, hey, let's talk to him. Let me talk to your cousin.
Yeah, that's interesting. So was
Yeah,
he born in India or was
yeah,
he interesting?
yeah. He was born in India. Long story short, when the partition happened, when the country split, my dad, there's two brothers. He moved to Pakistan, and his brother stayed in India. So that's how he's there.
Interesting. So let's talk a little bit about, I want to know a little bit about your parents' background,
Okay.
if you care to share. I'm assuming was both of them born in Pakistan or are they
My
both?
dad was born in my dad was born in pre-Pakistan, when it was in India. But my
Oh,
mom was born in Pakistan. But my dad migrated to he had to migrate to Pakistan from India. But my mom was born there. My mom was younger than my dad. But
okay.
basically, they're both Pakistanis. They were both Pakistani citizens when they came here. So they were all raised. He went to Pakistan when he was very young. So basically, he was just raised there.
So have they shared any stories about how it was for them being in Pakistan and what was it like for them growing up as well? I'm just curious.
My dad mostly shares stories of when the partition happened, when the country split. He always goes back to that migration that they had to endure, because it was probably one of the biggest migrations in history. I mean, majority of the Muslims that were in India, they had to migrate to Pakistan when the country was created. I mean, there was a lot of massacres on both sides, and he would just tell me how the story, when the Pakistan was being developed, living in tents, just trying to basically start from scratch, and just the hardships that they had to endure, just trying to make it, starting a new life in a new country there. But as far as my mom, she had a middle class life. I mean, she didn't have to see way too much poverty, or like real tough times. So her stories were more like, growing up, she'll just tell you like how I was with my brothers and sister with her brothers and sisters, and just having a very common life. It wasn't too like, I listened to her story. I'm like, really, you sound like you had a pretty decent life, mom. Because yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't that bad. But my dad's stories were pretty deep. They're pretty. They're pretty like they're
So
heart moving stories that he
so
had.
when you say massacre, can you go into a little bit more Detail about
Yeah.
that.
So what would happen is, because what to my knowledge is a lot of another religion. I think a lot of people had to relocate that didn't want to, from Pakistan to India, and that back and forth created a lot of tensions, where ethnic groups would just go after the other ethnic group just out of revenge, out of hatred. You know, why am I being displaced for no reason? And that's what started a lot of these massacres, riots, fights, whatever you want to call it. And it's sad that all religious sides had to go through it. I mean, I'm not going to say Muslims did, Sikhs did, Hindus did. I mean, it's something that shouldn't have happened,
Yeah,
but it was sad that everyone had to go through that. But hopefully, people find a way to. I mean, now, I mean, I can see it's better now. I mean, the relationships, but it was just that time being displaced for no reason for all sides
yeah.
caused a lot of
Wow.
tensions.
Yeah. So what was it like when your parents came to America? I'm just curious. What was it like for them when they came to America? It's a whole different country, whole different setup.
So I was very young, but it was tough because my dad, he was a lifelong construction worker. Construction, when I meant he was in developing roads and highways and this and that. So when he came to this country, he had a time frame that if I didn't make it, get a job and get things going, we'd have to go back. And
Wow.
my mom still telling me the story. I mean, we first came here, we lived in an apartment in Houston, and I guess the money that they had saved up started depleting. And my mom said that it came to one point that, you know, if your dad didn't get that stable job, we'd have to go. So luckily, he got that job, and we started staying. Then it gave us the means to stay. My mom ended up getting a job. I mean, she said, I got a job at Kmart. I was working at
Mhm.
the bakery. So she was
Yeah.
doing that. My dad was doing his work. And me and my sister and I started, basically, she started going to school. Then I waited till I was in kindergarten and started a normal part, just basically started a normal life. I mean, that's the transition. I remember it, people were pretty friendly in Houston. Uh, I mean, there was a lot of white people, there was a lot of Hispanic people, but I never felt any discrimination even growing up. In the
Wow.
beginning in Houston, people were very friendly uh, over there. So pretty much it was a okay transition. It was just getting that financial aspect going from my dad that gave us the reason to stay. So it was something that was meant to be for us.
Yeah. What about the language barrier? I'm assuming so I guess I could ask you, what language do your parents speak and what language do you speak?
So my language is Urdu.
Okay.
That's what my parents speak, and that's what I spoke to them in the house. And I hardly ever spoke English to my parents. I mean, never to my dad and my mom. It was just couldn't. Just it was just I felt like I was. There's some words, phrases, or the way you talk to your elders.
Yeah.
English, it won't do it justice. So that was another reason why I had to speak Urdu to my father so I can respectfully speak to him. And that was one of the reasons. And it was just more comfortable talking to my dad in Urdu. I mean, it was just when I was talking English, I was just, oh, my dad would just look at me, I'd look at him, like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, our language is Urdu.
Was the language barrier a challenge for them? Coming here to America, was that like something that they struggle with? Because, I'm assuming that when you said your dad had to look for jobs, had to find apartments and things like that, who helped them? Or do you know if anybody helped them kind of interpret where they can really get settled?
Yeah, my mom and dad they had difficulties speaking English in the beginning. Even though English is it's used pretty common in Karachi, in the big city. A lot of people speak it, but coming here and just that transition, we had a family friend that was helping us. Uh, I recall my dad telling me that he would help us with find the apartment, getting things. that we needed, the basic necessities on how to, basically the rules on how to follow to get basic apartment, a driver's license, all that kind of stuff. These things are new to him. So those challenges, we had a family friend that did, I recall, help him get those necessities that he needed. But as far as English, his English basically started getting better as the years went by. My dad had an accent. I mean, some phrases and sentences were difficult for him, but overall, he can talk to you, but he'll have a accent. And as far as my mother, her English is, she picked up pretty quickly. She went from being working at Kmart, and she became, like, back in those days, they were something called travel agents. So my mom was a lifelong travel agent before the internet blew up. So
Nice.
they were able to get used to English and lifestyle pretty fast, which helped us quite a bit.
Nice. Do you recall why your parents moved to America?
My dad tells me that if I would have stayed in Pakistan, we actually, my dad came from, you know, UAE, Dubai, United Arab
Yeah.
Emirates.
Hmm.
So my dad was there working. He had a pretty decent job. But what he told me this was back, and he was there from like the 60s up to like the late 70s. He goes, if I would have stayed there, your futures would not be bright. And that bright future, I don't see none of these countries, you won't be able to get that here.
Yeah.
He said that he just told me that my whole goal in life was to somehow bring my family and you guys to America, to give you basically that life that it will be very difficult to get in Pakistan, or even though how Dubai was now, it wasn't like that back in the 70s. Like, you see all that fancy the rich money and all that. I mean, it was a developing country back then, but he made that decision. Another thing, my dad, he told me when he was young, he went to the movies. I think he saw Hercules. So my dad told me, I saw this one commercial of a guy riding on a horse. And he was riding on a horse, and all of a sudden behind him come to the Marlboro Land. It was a commercial for Marlboro cigarettes. And my dad was
Yeah.
like, you know what? He's telling his brother, like, one day I'm gonna go to the Marlboro Land. I'm gonna go live there one day. So
Yeah.
I don't know how that happened, but that was one thing that he always tells me too. He goes, you know, one day I saw that commercial. I'm like, I told my friend, that was before he was married, he was young. He goes, I'm gonna go to Marlboro Land, Marlboro country. I'm like, all right. He wasn't a smoker, but that
Yeah.
commercial was just like, wow, you saw America and all its beauty, trees, mountains. And I
Yeah.
said, yeah.
I think that's interesting that he shared that story too, because I do hear that from people who are from other countries. Also have another friend. Well, I have a friend who is Hmong. I think
Mm-hmm.
she is Hmong. She is Hmong, and she talks about how in her country, there was lack of opportunities, and so she ended up. She actually, I guess, she was married in the country that she was born in, but some way somehow she had two kids out of the marriage, two girls, but
Mm-hmm.
she ended up getting a divorce, and then she moved here to America with her daughters and remarrying an American guy. And
Okay.
so I remember us kind of talking about that. And she was saying how, America has afforded her a lot more opportunities opposed to where she was born and raised at. But she do often talks about how she really misses her country.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, America has afforded a lot of opportunity from folks that was born in other countries. But I don't know how they look at other aspects of being in America, because we do have a lot of growing to do as a country,
Yes.
on many levels.
Yes.
So that's pretty interesting to me. And he followed up with his dream. I'm talking about your dad. He wanted to move to Marlboro country.
That was just a side note. I thought I'd share that joke with you, but when this country has afforded us a lot of opportunities, And I think my dad and mom were able to reap the rewards of their hard work. I came in. I'm basically an American in a sense. I mean, even though I am an American, I sometimes take things for granted because I was born into it. I didn't have to work hard. I mean, I had food and water, clothes, everything given. I mean, it wasn't the best things, but at the same time, I had everything that I needed. And people like your friend and like my father, and that they come with that drive. I mean, you just left your country. You have coming to a different land. I mean, that is a very big thing to do. I mean, just me coming from LA to Sacramento, I thought, oh, like, wow, when's this nightmare going to end? When am I going to
Yeah.
get here? When are we getting an apartment? But compare that to what my parents did, or your friends did, or like other foreign people people from foreign countries come here, with a penny in their pocket or no money at all, just getting here and just trying to make that happen, getting the job, finding that opportunity. They have this drive that, I'm going to make it. And I know this country is going to give it to them, and just going for that, sacrificing.
Yeah.
Hard, man. I mean, honestly, I take a lot of things that America has for granted. And I think now that I'm getting older, I've realized a lot of things, that the smallest things that, wow, that this country gave this country. I mean, like you said, we have a lot of growing up to do. But at the same time, this country has given a lot of people, the right to speak their minds, to grow, to feed their family, to be rich, to be poor, to do whatever they want. I mean, if you
Yeah.
do that, if you do that in Pakistan, man, either you're going to be sent to jail, or something's going to happen, you're going to kidnap, some weird stuff's going to happen to you that you don't even deserve. But here, you can do that. You can speak against, you can say something against president, and they'll just think of it as a joke. But if you say that in a country like a third world country, they'll be like, oh my God, let's get him, throw him in jail.
Yeah.
You shouldn't say anyone. But no, you have the
Yeah.
freedom of speech here. So
Yeah.
I respect it, man. I mean, regardless of what people say, this country has afforded us a lot of opportunities.
Yeah. So I'm curious to how did they deal with diversity? Because coming from a country, and you are, I'm assuming, mostly associated with people from your culture, and I'm wondering, like, how did they do? Because America is like a melting pot. There's so
Yes.
many different folks here from the country. I mean, we just, that's just how we are. How did they do with that?
So, wow, what we did, there's a big Pakistani community. We were very fortunate. In Houston, there is a very big Pakistani community that we were able to get involved with. So we had those Pakistani friends. We'd have those little get-togethers where I remember my parents, they were able to share their ideas, their culture, their whatever, their ups and downs that they went through, and we were able to whatever, vent their lives or whatever is happening with them, and try to relate with one another that, hey, you know what, this happened, I met this guy, I was going through this issue, and maybe, hey, do you think you can help me out with this? So it was that, and being able to connect with our culture, with finding other Pakistanis, helped helped other Pakistanis find a little peace of mind that, okay, you know what, we can make it. And then I believe that helped us out a lot also. As far as like other cultures, like Caucasian people, white people, I mean, they were really down to earth, very helpful. I mean, back in those days, there weren't too much of that terrorist or Muslim, all that kind of stuff going on. People were very
Yeah.
fascinated when they heard, oh, you're from Pakistan. What's Pakistan? Oh, you're from there. Oh, wow. Tell us a little about it. There wasn't much negative stereotypes thrown out to, like, Middle Eastern, South Asian type people, but people were in the beginning very genuine to know. I mean, they still are, but I noticed that we never had to face any type of racism, negativity, as far as
Wow.
we talk about diversity. So it was just very new to people. So
Wow.
it was okay having that little Pakistani circle helped us out a lot.
Interesting. That's, my heart go out to people from other countries. I got all type of friends, and you're going to hear that, but a friend of mine's who she's from, oh man, she's from the Spanish speaking community. I don't know if she's from Mexico or Spain or somewhere, but she shared her story to me about how she ended up leaving her country to come over here because she felt it was going to afford an opportunity, a better opportunity. And so she had to leave her son with her mom in the country that she was born in. And she was telling me, she said, Jesse, that was the hardest thing that I had to do. And she was saying how she had tried to get over the border twice and got caught. And so finally, for the third time, she was able to, to get over the border and stuff. And she, got here to America. She got a life together, went to school, got a bachelor's degree. Like she really was, did well. So once she started to get on her feet, then she went back to get her son. And so she got her son over here situated, but her son held resentment in his heart for all those years that she was gone because he couldn't understand as a kid why his mom left him. And even to this day, her and her son, they're both estranged. Their relationship, they don't have a relationship, so many words, all because his mom made the decision to come over here to America. And she felt that she couldn't bring him over because she only spoke Spanish. I mean, she had a personal reason why she felt she couldn't bring him over. But her intent was to come over here, make a better life for herself and bring him over because she didn't want him to go through the things that she did growing up. However, he did kind of go through a little bit of that until she was able to bring him over to America and provide a better life for him. But their relationship is very strange because he could not accept the fact that you left me, And it's so unfortunate because people do have to make decisions like that. It's a tough decision. It is a tough decision.
It is. It is.
And she was a single mother, so she didn't have the luxury of having a husband to accompany her and to provide some type of assistance with the migration. But my heart really went out to her. She be telling me that story. And so your situation is definitely a different because your parents brought you and your sibling over here together.
Yes, it is different, and there's a lot of people go through that. I mean, it's unfortunate that the son couldn't understand why the mom did what she did to give that life, that American life, that dream that people have to come here.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day they'll make amends and he'll understand that sacrifice that the mom had to make. I mean, I know a mother, what she probably had to endure just to give him that, and was tough just being away from him.
Yeah,
but
yeah, she
that's
did.
common, man. A lot of people do that. Just to come to this country, they'll leave their family behind, and one person, and the spouse or the other spouse will be working in America, sending money back to Pakistan. I mean, they'll come here with a big dream. I'm going to be famous. And sometimes there's working at 7-Eleven, but we're living with a couple of guys, and he's just sending money back to his family. That's a very common story.
Yeah.
Very common story.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we got 1 minute left, so we're gonna close this one out and pick up on part 2. And that's it for this edition of Mental Health Matters. If you enjoyed this particular show, if you would like a DVD copy of the show, or if you would like to be a guest on our show, please dial 916-366-4600. Thank you.